Transformers 1 does more for the Transformers franchise than all the live-action movies combined, and as somebody who likes Bumblebee and kinda the first Transformers movie, that is saying something. Now, the Transformers vary in quality. You either get stuff like the convoluted horny mess that became a Michael Bay series that for some reason tried to justify a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old dating in a movie about giant alien robots. Or Transformers Prime, where while a quote-unquote kids show, explored PTSD, post-war effects, and murder. Ironic, isn't it? But no matter what, it's still a popular franchise that has fans all over the world, which was especially apparent watching this in an empty movie theater. But ignoring that, it's hard to deny the fact that this movie is pretty good. Now, the world of Transformers is more than just good robot fight bad robot, which, to be fair, is kinda what it is. On a surface level, I ain't gonna deny that because the whole reason this exists is to sell toys. But there's a whole bunch of lore and history that the movies have barely touched. Whether that be the origin of the 13 Primes, Unicron, Primus, or the War for Cybertron, or Headmasters. There's so much content out there that hasn't really been used. Well, till now. Transformers 1 not only verbally but visually shows us so much rich history from the franchise, taking its best elements and establishing a fresh take on this world's history and its characterization of Optimus Prime and Megatron, or their peasant names, Orion Pax and D16, showing the beauty of Cybertron, whether that be the detailed city of Iacon with its lavish skyscrapers or poor underbelly, and its overall culture and functionality, or the surface of Cybertron, which adds a whole nother depth of beauty and scope to the world. All this is boosted by its history of the 13 Primes being chosen by Primus, who is basically Robot God, where during the Great War with the Quintessons, the Matrix of Leadership, aka the life force of Cybertron, was lost, causing their planet to die, as its main energy source, Energon, is quickly becoming depleted, which is a bit of a problem considering the fact they need it to live. And because of this, the lower class is forced to work in the mines and collect whatever resources left, aka robot racism, where the people of society who don't have T-Cogs are discriminated against and are forced to do manual labor until they die. While the people who do transform live lavish lifestyles, have leading roles in government, or are racers who get blown to smithereens. Which is how we meet Orion Pax and D16, two rebellious miners with the belief they can do more with their lives. Both have different mindsets, but both care about the people of Cybertron, which is why their friendship is such a tragedy, cause let's be real, we all know Optimus and Megatron are the biggest rivals known to, mankind. And seeing these sworn enemies actually being friends adds a sense of heartbreak, just seeing their friendship slowly deteriorate throughout the film. It's similar to how Spider-Man PS4 treated Doc Ock. You know he's gonna turn bad, but a part of you really hopes that he won't, which is why his descent into villainy is so tragic, and the same goes for here. Orion and Dee felt like genuine close friends who always banter, make fun of one another, or will punch each other for the hex of it. But they both have each other's backs through thick and thin, so when their friendship does start to deteriorate due to difference in political action is what makes it so sad. Both start with the same motivation of making a better future for themselves, and once given the same truth of their world and the power to make their dreams a reality, is where their friendship fractures. As Orion wants to use his newfound power to peacefully unite Cybertron and create a better world for everyone, putting his own desires of doing more with his life for the benefit of others. While D16, motivated by a deeper sense of hatred, sees his newfound power and believes that restoring Cybertron can only be done through violent matters to establish an equal society. Now, don't get me wrong, Orion is flawed, but at the end of the day, he has a good heart, and he grows more into a leader as the film progresses, while D16 becomes a leader in his own right through his violent tendencies, now emancipated by his newfound strength. And while this movie is very much the little guy versus corruption, it's also the foundation for the Autobots and Decepticons, as these two gain their own followers based off their principles. And sure, there's still a semblance of friendship between the two of them, but it's evident that things won't be the same, as Optimus continues to grow as a person, leader, and hero, as Megatron continues to fall into deception and villainy. AKA more character development for both of these characters than any other live-action movie. Nonetheless though, it's a really interesting and well-executed dynamic, which as an Optimus stan, I am so glad to finally see. These characters are funny when they need to be, but when it gets serious, it's willing to let its moments sit with its audience and, you know, let us reflect on the murder, oppression, and the tragedy unfolding. Where every side character, action set piece, or story beat always pushes the stakes, plot, or the dichotomy between these two characters. It's not just mindless action for the sake of getting you high on dopamine. Everything feels justified and properly built up to its finale, which really sets the stage for these characters and who they become. Man, who knew that actually focusing on the Transformers and treating them like actual characters rather than focusing on human cannon fodder could turn out good? Anyways, there's so much potential for this series and where it can go to where I kind of believe that animation might be the best medium for adapting the Transformers, especially with how beautifully detailed it is alongside the creativity and passion of its staff, where in my eyes, it fully encapsulates the tone, heart, and universe of the Transformers. Where while this movie does wrap up its story, it's just the beginning. There's so much more to explore, especially the relationship between Optimus and Megatron, or the war between the Cybertronians and Quintessons and Autobots and Decepticons. I really hope that this does well, so it can tell these stories and build a unique and fresh take on a franchise that holds a special place in my heart. But we'll just have to see, cause there's way more than meets the eye. If you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the kind of content I'm making. This is Balthazar, signing off.